Oh dear, I'm in trouble with this stupid thing again. Is it live or not? I can't hear anything. Hang on, the audio. I'm in trouble with this stupid thing again. Ah, yes, it's working. Ah. Right, so I 3D printed the coil winder body thing. So I got a weight on the top, got a little dry shaft on it, but this, oops, the lid comes off here, like, well, as you can see, the lid comes off, and I've got to keep it pressed down, so I put this on as a weight just to hold the lid on, because otherwise it can pop off and things can, the bearing can, it can all go skew with. But basically the wires is feeding through at about a millimetre a second or something like that. If you look at the top, I can't keep it still. Hang on. Right, try that. I did a time lapse earlier, just showing you it speeded up, but it has to go slow because it takes a while for the super glue. Because when I made that old coil about what in 2018, this thing here. Well, I did that in 2018. There was 600 tons of wire on it, and to hold things in place, I used glue and some what do you call it? That plumber's tape, white stuff. Oh God, what we call it now? Use on pipes. That's yeah, it's really stretchy stuff, and I glued the wire in certain places with super glue, and I also used some sticky double-sided tape and other things on the bobbins, which is what you do sometimes to hold things so that the wire doesn't slide around. Well, obviously the wire was messed up, and when I'm recycling it, and what's happening at the moment is the wire's been through my cleaning solution. You can probably see the wire. Get the light on it. It's nice and clean now, look. When the wire came off that off that spool, it was covered in glue. You can see if I get really close, you can see all the crap on the wire there. And obviously when you're winding new coils and with it, see, it's not taking the polyamide off. The polyamide coating on the wire is resistant to acetone, so it's not touched by it. If you look at the wire, I'll put my hand there so if I can get my hand around the back, get my fingers there so you can see the crap on the wire there. There's bits of there on that one. There's glue, and you can see the shading, the different colour shading. The copper, the actual insulation is still on there, the polyamide, but the wire itself just needs a good soak in acetone to get rid of all the crap that's on there. So it's moving along pretty slowly, as you can see, and what it does is it goes inside this tube, and I've got a tiny pinprick hole, and the wire goes in that hole, and then it's wrapped, the wire is wrapped with cotton wool, which is soaked with acetone, and the tube is made out of nylon, so it's also impervious to the acetone, the nylon tube. You can hear it clicking away actually, as it kind of, there's a bit of friction and drag, and it kind of clicks as it goes through. So the wire goes through there very slowly and gets cleaned up, and then this part of the wire is not too bad, as you can see. Actually, this part of the wire is not too bad, but if I take the spool off here a minute, if I take that off there a minute, come off, it's a bit stuck. There we go. Right, you can see, if I get the light on it right, you can see there's areas where it's really, yeah, that's a bit better there. It's just got bits of glue. You can see the traces on it. Anyway, I want to clean it up properly. And then I can reuse it. So, get up. I haven't been able to get much done because I'm waiting for this, but we've gone down quite a long way. I mean, I've only got that much left now to do, and this spool, the clean spool, as you can see, it's virtually full up now. So it comes out this end here. So it's a bit of a boring video at the moment. Oh yeah, there's something else I was going to tell you about. I 3D printed these new inner cores, which are going to go inside my magnet actuators, and I'll explain why. That's, at the moment there's about, I think I've forgotten now, is it 6 laminations in each core? Well, or is it 5? I can't remember now. Oh, it'd be easy enough to find out. Just a minute. I'm basically adding 1 extra to each one, so measure that. That's 4.98 millimeters, right? So there's going to be 5 laminations in each one of these. At the moment I've only got 4, so I'm going to be adding an extra lamination to each slot, and that addition of extra metal, extra core material, will give better magnetic coupling to the magnets in my concentric, so I'll get a bigger magnetic field going through on the coils when it switches. So that should increase my output. I acetone treated these earlier. I 3D printed them. I got red this time because there was no pink left. I like red, it's a pretty good colour. So I acetone treated this, and it's a bit squidgy, it's a bit soft at the moment, so they've got to dry out overnight. I won't be putting the new cores in these for a couple of days anyway, and I've got to clean up that wire, and I want to wind, it's going over about 3 feet at the moment. The reason for the gap, why have I got this so far away from that bobbin on my reel-to-reel, is because the greater distance allows the wire to ride up and down a little bit more easily. If that was really close, it would be, the wire would all bunch up in one area. It would I would end up with all the wire at the bottom of the bobbin, and it would probably overflow and start, yeah. But anyway, what I'm actually doing, because it's over a longer area, and because it's going so slowly, I can go to bed. I actually went to bed last night and left it running, but when I woke up it got stuck. It got stuck because there was a particularly nasty piece of wire with a great big blob of oh God, what do you call that white stuff? I can't think of it. Yeah, I just can't think of it. My mind's gone blank. Yeah, that stretchy stuff that you wrap around pipes, you know what I mean. Anyway, there's a pretty nasty bit stuck to the superglue on the wire, and it got jammed at the far end. And the good thing is, it didn't snap the wire. The motor's not too strong, so it will stop if there's a problem or an obstruction, and it will stop and it won't do any harm. That's a good thing, because at the end I've tied a knot. Well, I've wrapped the wire around underneath this spool so that when it gets to the end of the spool, it should stop without finishing the last foot of wire, it will stop by itself, because and this thing will just get all taut and tightened up at this end, and then I'll just come down, and when I find it, when I wake up, whatever, I can do that last foot by hand. So that's what I'm probably going to do. But anyway, as I say, this is why I've got a big distance, because it also gives me a little bit of flexibility. If I see a particularly bad piece coming out at that end, I can actually try and get a bit off before it goes through the tube, because if it does, it sometimes gets jammed up in there, and it's got to soak for about an hour or something before it gets it all off. So yeah, the really thick bad bits, most of the bad bits are gone now, actually. I think it's just the light stuff that's on the end, because I didn't put so much glue on some of the layers that I did, which are wound. It was the latter layers, as you wind in the layers of the copper on a bobbin, each layer gets a little bit more distorted, if you know what I mean, because it's riding over bumps on the previous layer and stuff like that, and yeah, it amplifies these errors, and then you end up with more glue needed to hold things from sliding around, which is what I did. So the synchronous motor is working quite well. I'm actually driving it with 80 volts at the moment, the synchronous motor, and it's pulsing at that frequency. As you can see, the LEDs are flashing, and yeah, it's about probably 20 hertz, I don't know, but probably 10 hertz actually. It's pretty slow, but on the input current it's drawing 300 milliamps, but it's not really interesting, I suppose, because it's only a synchronous motor. But that's goes to show you how much current these synchronous motors use to create that torque. I mean, it's geared anyway, it's got gears in it. So at the moment I'm not running my generator, obviously, because I'm running this motor to wind this coil. But once that's done and got the wire cleaned up, I'm going to wind some new coils for it with 25 SWG wire, which we should have better results with, because so far I've tried 30 SWG, which was thinner wire, and it wasn't working at all well, even though there was a lot of wire, and the actual bobbins were a lot bigger as well. So they should have had a lot more flux, and I did bump up the voltage. I mean, I can go up to about 80 volts or higher. If you think about 80 volts going into this H bridge, you've got to multiply that by 2, because what happens is it switches the 80 volts, it flips it around. So if you work out what 80 volts is times 2, that's the actual voltage that's coming out of these two wires to drive the synchronous motor. I think it's about 160, or maybe it's 170 volts. AC pulsed. It's driving that motor right now. I can't remember. I can't think right now. I think that's 160 actually. Yeah, 160 volts is driving that motor. It's designed to run at 240, but yeah, obviously I don't need that much power just to tick it over, and it's good that it does stall out if it gets stuck, because if it had too much torque it would probably snap the wire, which is why I'd strip the gears on the motor. So it's a good thing that it's running just barely able to run and pull that wire along. Actually, the wire is getting a bit fat at the bottom now. It's not, well, it's not, yeah, it's getting a bit fatter at the bottom. What I have been doing is I've got this little hook on the wire to pull the wire down. I'll just take the hook off and it'll start to ride back up. Actually, I could do that now, actually. Take the hook off and the wire should be able to freely ride up and down, because of the distance between there and the cleaning tube with the cotton wool and acetone in it. So yeah, that's really all I wanted to update you on. So I'm going to be putting some extra, I'm going to take the laminations out of these two put them in these red ones and add an extra lamination, so that each slot's got an extra lamination in it. That should add more flux. I can't go any more than that because I might be able to do, I suppose, but I've only got so many laminations left for those particular types that I'd laser cut previously, well, a few years back. I'll show you where they are. They're still in the panel. If I can get it, it's behind here. So, right, these are the ones I'm using at the moment, these little ones. So I've got 24, I think, and if you work that out, there's those things. I've got 6 slots around in the red things, and add an extra one in each slot. That's 60. Actually, let me think a minute. Let me just double check this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20. Yeah, there's 24. There's a few extra, but I can't use them because they're odd numbers otherwise. I can't really use those because they're actually a lot thicker. You can't tell much, but these are actually a millimetre wider in that direction on this body part here, which would mean that it wouldn't fit in those things because of the ferrite ring, the toroid that goes in the middle, and they would stick out too much. And I have to redesign my plastic things. They wouldn't. I could use these other ones, but I've got quite a few of these other ones lying around, but I'd have to file them down, all of them, or grind them down on the grinder, which I could do that, I suppose. But anyway, I'm just going to go with adding an extra one of these. I'm going to cut the long legs off like I did last time. Don't need the long legs. It's actually gone quite rusty, as you can see. I'll just stick it down there. So I've got quite a few of the other laminations in here still, which I haven't punched out. There's rust everywhere. Yeah, these are the different types. They've got the smaller gaps in the middle. They're not suited for this design I've done anyway, because the holes won't fit over these little humps that are in the middle there, because the holes are a lot smaller and they're not ideal for this design. So anyway, I'm not going to get more of them laser cut because it would cost me too much. So anyway, just a Sunday update on what I'm doing at the moment. So I'm waiting for that wire to finish, and all being well, if it doesn't get stuck while I'm asleep, I'm hoping that that spool will be empty when I wake up. Do you hear me, Mr. Spool? I want you to be empty when I wake up. Right, because when I woke up today it was stuck. Yeah, it got jammed on something. Alright, that's it. Oh shit. Am I actually live? It doesn't say I'm live. Oh, I must be live. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I'm using the RTP mode, streaming to RTP, because it won't do it directly to YouTube. It keeps making me unlisted. And when I use the YouTube live, it's not live, it's actually unlisted, which is stupid. So this app needs fixing, Streamlabs. Can you please get this blooming app fixed so that it works? Because when I try to go live the normal way, it doesn't go live. It just makes it unlisted. It's like somebody's trying to shut me up. That's what it is. They don't want me to give out all my secrets. Yeah. Anyway, I'm off.